5-star quarterbacks are talking about the University of Georgia, and to be honest, why would they not be? We're the defending national champ. I'm sorry, we're the back-to-back defending national champions, and we did all that with Stetson Fleming Bennett the fourth. And so if you're a quarterback, why would you not want to come to UGA? And some interesting things were said about the University of Georgia. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about what are the positions that are the most important to get these 5-star kids at. Is it quarterback? Or is it maybe something else? All that today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Daniel and I are your hosts. If you're new to the pod, welcome. Glad you're here. It's the off season, but it's never the off season because we always got them dogs to talk about, as well as basketball when we're doing well. And Mike White is doing well. So
if you're not happy about 15-10, you're wrong.
And you
about
haven't been
life.
Watching basketball. Yeah, wow.
About life.
Okay.
About all of it.
He went for the jugular. I apologize.
It's real.
If you're over on YouTube, thanks. Leave us a comment, rating, and review. Over also on podcast side. Get over on the podcast, subscribe to that, download, listen, tell your friends about it. Today we are talking about 5-star quarterbacks. Also, do we need a 5-star quarterback? And then also,
people are asking,
where do we need 5 stars? If 5 stars are even needed at all? It's real philosophical.
Do 5 stars even exist? We're going to get to that in segment 4.
Segment
Loyal fourth segment listeners, we're going to talk about, are there even such a thing as
time is
ratings?
A construct, and so are 5 stars. Okay,
That's right.
We're not going to do that. Thanks for being here. Let's start here. Dylan Raiola, the once committed Ohio State Buckeye, now decommitted. It looks like he's down to 3 possible schools. 5-star kid, has all the intangibles, the absolute consensus number 1 quarterback, as well as might be the number 1 in the entire class itself.
And it's not just because his last name's Manning, and so people felt obligated to name him the number 1 quarterback. That's not why he actually is better than all the other quarterbacks. That's this kid.
We did. I understand we swung for Manning and we lost out, but I'm just here to tell you, like the film leaves something for you.
It's going to be fascinating to see where he plays college football after next year when he doesn't play college football at Texas.
Ewers going to beat him out.
Ewers is not going to beat him out. There's not going to be a competition. Ewers is going to keep the job that's his.
There you go.
And then Arch Manning's going to transfer.
There you go.
That's what's going to happen.
We're not worried about that because Dylan Raiola has been talking quite a bit. He's been talking about Kirby Smart, once committed to Ohio State and now down to Nebraska, where he's got legacy to, as well as USC, and Lincoln Riley, who knows how to win. Nope, just kidding. He knows how to send quarterbacks to the NFL. There it is. That's the thing he knows how to do, which is you make a system that's just quarterback driven. You don't care about winning.
I mean, Lincoln Riley single-handedly developed Jalen Hurts, who had an incredible season this year, and so you got to hand it to Lincoln Riley.
I can't be mad at Lincoln Riley.
Where credit is due.
When I see somebody doing a good job, I'm going to say, good job on you.
You're going to say kudos to you.
Okay. And then lastly, UGA is in the running for this kid. He had comments this week. Dylan Raiola is saying he loves talking to Kirby. They got plans for another national championship run. Made public about it. Daniel, what do you make about a 5-star consensus number 1 quarterback that's got all the intangibles, talking about Kirby in the national championship and making a legacy of his own at UGA after back-to-back championships? What do you make about those public comments?
Well, I don't make a ton about the public comments because, it's somebody asked a kid for a quote. The question is something to the effect of, what do you think about Kirby Smart? And this is what is going to be, what's he supposed to say? Kirby who? I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry, no, he's going to say, I love Kirby Smart. Of course he is. You don't really know where Georgia stands. I think Georgia has a legitimate shot at this. Yeah. I think if Todd Monken's still in Athens, that helps. It helps a lot.
Can we Can we not right now?
A lot? It helps a lot?
Can you not right now?
But listen, you obviously can't discount Lincoln Riley. There's a lot of – he offers a lot of pedigree when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yes.
And then Matt Rule at Nebraska is just this wild card that I would say really doesn't have a prayer of landing this kid.
But
except the day and age that we live in, you have no idea where a kid's going to go to school. I mean, you just don't have any idea about what kind of a booster is going to make what kind of an offer to what kind of a kid. And like, you just have no idea how recruiting is going to go. I think Georgia has a legitimate shot at this 5-star quarterback. I don't think Georgia is going to become the type of school that's going to be bringing in 5-star quarterbacks year in and year out. I think you're going to see some 4-star kids lead, play football at the University of Georgia. I mean, Carson Beck this year, obviously 4-star kid. And then I think you're going to continue to see good quarterbacks consistently come to Georgia, and a few elite level, really top end prospect quarterbacks come to Georgia. But as we've seen time and time again, sometimes Brock Purdy is better than Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson throws the ball so far that NFL GMs are going to trick themselves into believing that he's good at playing quarterback.
He's got a live arm, Daniel. There's a lot of liveness in
when there are just better quarterbacks out there. Not more physically gifted quarterbacks, but just better quarterbacks. And so Dylan Raiola seems to be that dude, as you said. All of the tape speaks for itself. All of the measurables and intangibles speak for themselves. But we'll wait and see what happens. I do think Georgia's got a great shot, though.
Hey, we're going to come back after this and ask the question, who cares? Who needs 5 stars? Maybe us, maybe somebody else. But Dan's going to let you know about Built Bar first.
Well, we don't know if we need 5 stars, Clint. But what we do know
please tell me.
Is we need Built Bar.
I have to.
I have to have it because listen, I like things that taste good. I'm not sure what kind of eating regimen you're on these days. But I typically like to consume things that taste delicious. That's typically been the diet plan that I've been going off of my entire life. Now, as the older I get, the less and less healthy that becomes for me. So what I need to do, Clint, is I need to find things that are both good for me and that taste delicious. And Built Bar checks both of those boxes. It's the perfect marriage. It's high in protein. It's high in fiber. Those are things that I want. It's low in sugar. That's something I don't want. It's keto approved, 100% real chocolate, and all these delicious flavors. Some of them are chewy. Some of them are crunchy. You can get whatever flavor, texture you want. Get a variety pack. Get all one flavor. Whatever floats your boat. BuiltBar.com. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON15. You get 15% off your first order. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar.
All right, Daniel, the question I posed before we went to break and now that we're back is this. We have the 5-star. We went after Arch Manning, lost out on him. We had a 5-star that we thought was going to be a generational talent, Justin Fields. He went to Ohio State. We got a walk-on that went to a JUCO, came back, won us 2 national championships, wound up being the best quarterback in all of college football. We got a couple of ever. You heard me, Bama fan. I'm here. I'm still right here. You're still right
where
there.
Else would we have gone?
No, nowhere. Because see, you win and you keep winning,
and you just stay.
And you
win or stay. That's the way the court works. We're just here on the court. I hadn't seen you in a minute. LSU was here a minute ago, but we hadn't seen you in a while.
We dismissed them.
Yeah.
No, Daniel. The question is this: does Georgia need a 5-star quarterback to be relevant and consistent in the playoffs? I give you the floor, sir.
My answer may surprise you, because my answer is yes.
It does.
My answer is yes. Georgia does need a 5-star quarterback to be relevant and consistent in the playoffs. But
caveat:
that 5-star quarterback doesn't necessarily need to start. See what I did there? Georgia needs to have.
Georgia
needs to have stacked talent on its roster.
Here we go.
Right?
Now listen, he's about to give you an art lesson right now, y'all.
This is
Why is that, Daniel?
because depth and practice and competition
There it is.
matter. All right? Georgia doesn't have a 5-star quarterback on its roster last year when it wins the national championship. It has 2 5-star quarterbacks on its roster last year when it wins the national championship. And it has a 2-star former walk-on quarterback who is starting and a 4-star as the backup. But Georgia, make no mistake, has 2 5-star quarterbacks on the roster, Brock Vandagriff and Gunnar Stockton. These quarterbacks matter. Depth of talent matters because competition matters.
Yep.
And serviceable backups, Alabama, matter.
No.
You need to have multiple people who are capable of playing the position, and you need to have people that you can develop so that you don't end up in a situation where you have this 5-star phenom, all-world talent at quarterback, and then he comes in his freshman year and he's just thrown to the wolves in college football, and you have to take your lumps and take a beating. Georgia's bringing in 5-star quarterbacks and then developing those 5-star quarterbacks.
Yep.
Because better quarterbacks who've already been developed are ahead of them on the depth chart. And then those 5-star quarterbacks are becoming even more ready to play when their number is called. And so, yes, I do think Georgia needs 5-star quarterbacks. I don't think they need exclusively 5-star quarterbacks. And I don't think you should be one of those fans who makes the mistake of believing that only the 5-star quarterbacks should play. Because if that were the case, Brock Vandagriff, Brock Vandelay of Vandelay Industries would have been starting for Georgia every game last season. And how many of those games do you think we would have won? The answer is probably still most, but not all of them without Stetson Bennett. And so it's important to have these guys. It's important to have them on the roster. You do not want to have a quarterback room filled with 3- and 4-star guys only.
No, sir. No, sir.
But don't make the mistake of believing that only the 5-star kids should play. That's my take.
You're not a wrong take. I was working this analogy, and because it's the off season and the next season we have excited for us is not only Masters season, which is right around the corner, but also baseball season right around the corner.
Well, March Madness is before both of those.
And March Madness.
Okay.
Yes. Looking forward to all these.
It's fine. We beat Kentucky.
We beat Kentucky.
So we won and they lost.
Gosh, I love beating him. He is just, I wish his face looked different because
I'm happy with the way that it looks as we're beating him. I like that. That's a look that I care for quite a bit.
Okay, Braves baseball in general. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. It's like a bad bullpen on a baseball team, Daniel. We have a bad
I've
bullpen.
seen those. I've seen a bad bullpen.
I have been there, done that. Don't want to anymore. When you have a bad bullpen, it doesn't matter what the rest of the team does if you can't lock down the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And when you have depth, when you have a lot of pitchers, when you're running out everybody out of that pen, it's just on lockdown. It's a good system. Again, Bama, take notes. Because what happens at roster development, what Kirby has said time and time again, 1, it's next man up mentality, and 2, it's can I develop you? So with this bullpen type system, you need elite arms. I get that. But you can't just have you can't have an ace in the starting lineup and be like, well, I'm good to go. I'm fan. I'm great. We're good. No. You need competition and a complete team everywhere. And so a quarterback room is no different than a linebacking room, no different what won us our first national championship, which is Stetson Bennett being progressed and pushed, but also linebackers that were 3-headed monster that were pushing each other, that were absolutely getting after it. And this is what happens in college football. It is not a zero-sum game. Culture matters. Chemistry in a room, in the film room, matters still. It's a competitive sport with a team element. And so, yes, you can have a guy like Caleb Williams go out there and ball out, but the team's not going to win. And you know what? At the end of the day, he can ball out, but he's not a national championship winning guy. And also, I'm going to forget about him. I'm never going to forget about Stetson. And
I already had. I was trying to figure out. I just watched a North Carolina basketball game, and I was like, "Caleb, you mean Caleb Love, the North Carolina point guard?" No. Oh, you're talking about a USC quarterback. Okay, yeah, sure.
You need to have a 5-star, but not so you can crown him prince and throw him on the field. And
That's
say,
what Georgia used to do. That's old Georgia mindset. That's Mark Richt mindset. It's old Georgia. Don't be old Georgia.
Get out of it.
It's not. That's not who we are anymore.
No, it's not. Hey, we're going to come back after this and maybe rank some other offensive position groups that do require 5 stars right after this.
5-star talent, Clint. It doesn't grow on trees. There's not very much of it out there.
No.
Georgia gets quite a bit of it. So I thought we'd end this episode by playing an interesting game. Let's take the 5 position groups on offense: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive line. We're going to group all the offensive line together. So
I thought we were going to group tight ends and wide receivers together too.
Well, that's what we have done in the past. But for the sake of this conversation, let's make it an even 1 through 5 position groups.
Sounds good.
Well, we could group. Would you rather group wide receivers and tight ends, or would you rather group tackles and interior offensive linemen? Would you rather make those 2 position groups?
I would rather group offensive linemen.
So all offensive linemen together. All right. So let's rank 1 through 5. The position groups that 5 stars are most important. That would be number 1. Meaning
Best.
we need 5 stars at this position. Have to have them, or you might as well shut the program down.
Yep.
And then number 5 being least important, meaning we would like 5 stars, but compared to these other ones, we don't really need them.
This is
I give you
fascinating.
the floor. Where are you going to go?
Okay,
What's your ranking system? 1 through 5.
Okay, 5. Are we gonna go? Are we gonna tit for tat? We're gonna go back and forth. Or we're gonna do 1 through 5 all the way through.
No, I want your whole list, and then we'll
my
discuss
whole
it, and
list.
then I'm going to give you my whole list. So you can go whichever direction you want.
Okay.
You can count up or count down.
It's not gonna shock anybody when I start with this. We just got talking about quarterback. It's gonna start with quarterback. Number 1 for me. Number
1 most important is quarterback. Okay.
Number
I
2.
was just making sure I knew where you're starting. Sorry.
Number 2.
Yep.
Offensive line.
Okay.
And by the way, the difference between these two, wafer thin.
Razor thin, he says.
I'm talking. Okay. Quarterback.
Interesting.
Offensive line.
Okay.
Wide receiver.
Okay.
Running back, tight end.
Tight end 5th.
And again, I wanted to group wide receiver and tight end together, but offensive line takes. Brock Bowers don't grow on anything. Tree,
Right.
ocean,
Also,
land.
5-star tight ends, I think they're going to exist more and more because you're seeing that the evolution of college football. Brock Bowers is not a 5-star.
Nope.
So
Let that sink in.
Darnell Washington, Eric Gilbert, both 5-star tight ends.
Yes.
But Brock Bowers not a 5-star tight end. Oscar Delp, not a 5-star tight end. Pierce Sperling next year, not a 5-star tight end. So you're going to see more and more 5-star tight ends, but I think that one is tough because unlike the other position groups, you don't see nearly as many. All right. That's an interesting list. You went wide receiver ahead of running back.
I did.
There. All right. My list starts with offensive line. And I think we agree in principle, as you described, the offensive line really being a 1B to the 1A of quarterback. I think you got to have you got to win the trenches. A. No college football team has won a national championship in recent memory without being elite in the trenches. And I'm talking not just about SEC teams who've won national championships. I'm talking about Clemson when they won national championships, elite in the trenches. Ohio State when they won national championships, elite championship. I'm sorry. Did I say? Did I put an S on the end of that?
You missed
Championship. The one. The one. They were elite in the trenches. You can't win championships without being elite in the trenches. No. Offensive line contributes to the productivity of the play on every single play.
Yep.
And no other position we're going to talk about, including quarterback, does that. Just because you touch the ball doesn't mean you contribute to the productivity of the play. You turn around and hand the ball off, that's not really a contribution. So Offensive line, most important position group to have elite playmakers. This is where our lists are going to shift a little bit because quarterback is not next on my list. I'm going to go running back next.
Ooh. I had it at 4. Daniel has it at 2. This is interesting.
Yeah. Because I think all of the rest of these positions, you can call to mind so many examples of kids who are not 5 stars who have excelled. All of the rest of these positions, you can call to mind so many examples of the 5 stars, the non-5 stars who have excelled. But many of these other positions, and I'll just say, maybe you would disagree with me. Maybe in the comments you'll leave me a list of a bunch of names of kids that will disprove this point. But when it comes to running backs, I can think of fewer, not zero, but fewer 5-star busts than any of the other position groups. I think
somebody is furiously typing Isaiah Crowell right now.
He wants out. He needs a breather. Also, there's a gun under his seat in his automobile. That's not. You remember when we were hanging the hopes of our program on Isaiah Crowell, Clint? I do. Now we're that guy. We're the Georgia Bulldogs.
Let Isaiah Crowell go to Ole Miss and then go to TCU. Zach Evans, we're like, sure, man.
Sure.
Okay, have fun. Whatever.
Not worried about it. I think those 5-star running backs are typically just absolute elite dudes. I don't want to disparage anybody on the podcast, but the one example I thought of was not Isaiah Crowell.
Okay.
And it is the name people are furiously typing into the comments right now. But go easy on Keith Marshall, okay? Go easy on the man. He was pretty good.
He was good.
He was right next to Todd Gurley the whole time, and that wasn't ideal for him. I'm gonna go running back second, and I'm gonna go wide receiver a close third. I think these two are tight to me because the big time dude playmaker wide receiver. That's a guy that is, it gives you a decided schematic advantage on every play. Look at a team like Missouri last year. They had the kid, I can't even remember the kid's name, but he's the number 1 receiver, true freshman kid.
Luther
Burden, yeah. Missouri had no business being anything at any point to anyone all season, and they weren't a very good football team.
No.
But the thing that made them a decent football team was that they had a moderate to decent play caller on the sidelines, and they had an elite weapon on the outside. You get this guy involved in end arounds. You get this guy involved on contested catches. You throw jump balls to him on the sidelines.
This is the Rondell Moore example.
Exactly. You get a cheat code out there. A 5-star running back is going to make it so that your offense is difficult to get off the field. A 5-star wide receiver is going to make it so that your offense is explosive. It just takes you to another level in terms of explosivity. And then I'll go quarterback, and then I'd put tight end fourth, just because I think there are so many 4-star tight ends that can be used in creative ways. And I think Georgia fans are a little bit spoiled because there are no more Brock Bowers. You're not going to get more. There's not another one coming.
Stop. Like, I hope he is, but don't do
he's going to be great, I think.
I think so well.
Not Brock Bowers.
He's the best offensive weapon in college football, y'all. Hey, by the way, get over to the 199 bonfire/store/199. Buy some merch.
It's the Death March.
Ooh, the Death March shirt. Ooh, that hits. TM Death March shirt. Don't even come at us. Here comes the Death March. Hey, this has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We will see y'all next.
See ya.